Hello and thanks for joining us on TVC News. Now, it's more than 7 months since the Academic Staff Union of Universities embarked on an industrial action, and all efforts to bring the lecturers back to the classroom have failed. The federal government has now ordered vice chancellors to reopen schools and allow students resume lectures. This was made known in a letter signed by the Director of Finance and Accounts of the National Universities Commission, Sam Onazi, on behalf of the Executive Secretary, Abubakar Rashid. The letter, which was addressed to all vice-chancellors, pro-chancellors, and chairmen of governing councils of federal universities, reads, quote, "Ensure that ASU members immediately resume or commence lectures, restore the daily activities and routines of the various university campuses," end quote. The National Industrial Court last Wednesday ordered the Academic Staff Union of Universities to call off its ongoing nationwide strike after the federal government went to court to challenge the strike. ASU had since filed 14 grounds of appeal to challenge the order. The Osun State Election Petition Tribunal has adjourned to Tuesday hearing of the petition of Governor Gboyega Oyetola against the declaration of Ademola Adeleke as governor-elect. The adjournment comes following the decision of the tribunal to grant the Independent National Electoral Commission, the People's Democratic Party, and Ademola Adeleke 7 days to respond to the pre-hearing form served on them by the tribunal. Counsel to the All Progressives Congress, Kayode Olatoke, had informed the court of his readiness to continue with pre-hearing session, but counsel to the INEC, Ben Ananaba, said the pre-hearing could not go on because he was just served with a pre-hearing form. And counsel to Mr. Adeleke, Bamidele Abolari, and counsel representing PDP, Nathaniel Oke, also requested the tribunal to give them the required 7 days to respond. And chairman of the tribunal, Justice Teresa Kume, adjourned the matter till 4th of October for proper commencement of hearing. And still on politics, more groups in the North are declaring support for the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, ahead the general elections. Now, one of such is the AREWA Xtra Network, which has members from all northern states. The leader of the group explained that the experience and antecedents of Bola Tinubu stands him out as the most competent candidate to succeed President Buhari as the nation's commander-in-chief. The national women leader of AREWA Xtra also promised to mobilize several women to ensure that the APC wins come 2023.
And every woman, and even up to the grassroots, I think if you gather them, about 70% of them have their voters card. And we've lectured them on the importance of voting the right candidate, which is Bola Tinubu, because in a situation where there is crisis, all you need is rescue. And we taught them to see that Bola Tinubu is the rescue for Nigeria.
Remember, Nigeria is a very, very rich country with enormous resources, but which lacks the capacity and leadership ability to harness those resources in order to take Nigeria to the desired status. So our confidence in Asiwaju is one of the reasons why we are investing heavily in this movement to support him.
The People's Democratic Party is insisting that it will face the forthcoming election as a united party, despite the brewing crisis among its stakeholders. The spokesperson of the presidential campaign, Charles Aniago, who featured on TVC News program this morning, says the party is on the same page with the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, on the need for equity and fairness, but said the timeline to resolve the issue remains a challenge, considering the closeness of the polls on the alleged closeness of the polls. Now, on the alleged violation of the party's constitution, Mr. Nagui noted that the PDP has not contravened its constitution by zoning the presidency to the northern part of the country.
This agreement is, of course, not from the prism from which many are viewing it. On the issues raised by our very respected leader, Nyesom Wike, and many others, we are almost on the same page as to the need to trigger some form of equity and fairness, like he rightly put it. But where we have a little disagreement, which we are dealing with, is the issue of the timeline. The presidential candidate of the party doesn't have any challenge with the issue of having to restructure the party, particularly given the fact that the candidate has emerged from the north. But don't forget, he's a candidate, not a president at the moment. And in the next 5 months, we hope by the grace of God, he will eventually win to become the president of this country, to be sworn on May 29. And by that time, you have a proper balancing that you are dealing with. But beyond that, we believe that the timeline we have now is a challenge to begin to trigger some of the offset that any movement from the north to the south could possibly trigger, and then leave the party much more wounded than it has suffered at the moment. But
the House of Representatives has charged contractor handling the $542 million Abuja-Makurdi Road project to complete it in record time. Its committee expressed displeasure at the slow pace of work on the Abuja-Kefi Expressway and the dualization of the Kefi-Lafia-Makurdi Road project. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
154-kilometer Abuja-Makurdi Road project was awarded in 2017, but work did not start until 2019 as a result of its engineering, procurement, and construction components.
You see, this binder, this one, you go higher, above.
From the Kubo end of the Abuja-Kefi 5.4-kilometer road expansion project, members of the committee kicked off their oversight function. They are also inspecting the state of work regarding the dualization of the Kefi-Akwanga-Lafia-Makurdi Road project. The legislators described the project as crucial, considering its connection to the nation's capital, Nasarawa and Benue states, and with particular reference to the southeast through Enugu states. When completed, the road is expected to cut down travel time, reduce the spate of auto crashes, and create safe travel conditions for users. The contractor is optimistic the April 2023 timeline will be met. He says the project will create thousands of jobs needed to stimulate investment.
They follow the design. I think we need to use it and almost 15 years.
15 years.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you, sir.
15. So 50 is impossible.
But the committee frowns at what it describes as the slow pace of work and charges the contractor to deliver the project as agreed without compromising quality.
We have inspected the projects. We have raised so many concerns, as you have seen. We call the attention for our consultants, contractors, as well as Ministry of Works, to quickly raise our concern.
The supervising ministry assures the committee the project is about 72% done and will be delivered timely.
From AYA to the point where we started, we are going to do some rehabilitation of the existing road, so that all the way from AYA to the section that we have done will be smooth ride for everybody.
The Abuja-Makurdi Road project is co-funded by the China Exim Bank as well as the Chinese and Nigerian governments. It was awarded to the China Harbour Engineering Company with a delivery date of April 2023. The lawmakers insist every kobo spent on the project must be accounted for without recourse to any form of compromise. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
And some entertainment now. The government has been advised to put necessary measures in place to aid the growth of the fashion industry in the country. Entertainment news correspondent Theophilus Elama was at an event organized by Design Shark, where practitioners brainstormed on strategies for growing the fashion industry.
Watchers of Nigeria's fashion industry say it can blossom in impressive dimensions if young talents are given opportunities and support for full expression. The gross domestic product data from the National Bureau of Statistics says that the textile, apparel and footwear sector has averaged a growth of 17% since 2010. This rise has been fueled by an unprecedented increase in the demand for locally made designs backed by the high fashion consciousness of Nigerians. Stakeholders say for this growth capacity to be sustained, young talents must be encouraged to soar in the industry.
You don't have to wait for the big shows to see who is good. So you need this sort of activities to happen on some of outlets for people to see who is upcoming, who people think is no longer important, people who they can say, oh, you know what, this person is key to the fashion industry. So I'm excited about this.
The average citizen has to be schooled on respecting the fashion industry because it's a great source of income. It's a great source of our economy boost. So it's time. The time is now. People have to focus on fashion and take fashion more seriously.
In a bid to meet this goal, practitioners here are aggressively looking for opportunities for expression. This quest led to the creation of this fashion initiative aimed at grooming budding talents in the sector.
Fashion is a big part of the Nigerian economy, it's a big part of the Nigerian culture, and to be able to export this fashion to other places, I mean, by means of this competition, obviously, it's an amazing initiative. Also, it's supporting young designers. I was a model for the longest time, and I know how tough the fashion industry can be.
Right now, a lot of designers do it out of passion. They're not self-sustaining. So there's a lot that needs to be invested, getting the infrastructure right, reviving the textile industries, setting up manufacturing hubs and manufacturing houses so the designers can mass produce, and they can make a living out of it.
As the fashion trend in Nigeria keeps evolving, practitioners are demanding for the provision of infrastructure, especially electricity and friendly taxation, to ensure faster growth of the sector in Nigeria. Theophilus Ilama, TVC News, Lagos.